Hello and welcome to Pop and Scott Talk Baseball. Another week down, and I don't know, not much of a mix-up going on, but what you got for us today? And welcome, Dad.
Well,
Happy
I mean,
Father's Day.
yeah. Well, thank you. I watched this week the College World Series started, so I've been watching some of that. I've been watching some of the U.S. Open. Caitlin played yesterday. I watched some of that. I watched some of that new softball league, and that's pretty good. That's pretty good softball. Those teams are pretty good. So I watched a little bit of that. So I've been all over the board watching stuff, and of course I did see some major league games, mainly Baltimore and Washington, which is not for the faint of heart the way they're playing. But Baltimore's actually getting to some people back and won a couple of games. The Nationals, they're 2-8 in their last 10 games, and they're in free fall. They've fallen below the Braves in their standings, so they're not doing too well. But anyway, I got to say this about the NCAA men's baseball tournament. I'm 79 years old, so therefore I was in second grade when we got a television, and I started watching NCAA football and things. So that's when I was introduced to the NCAA. The most generous thing I can say about the National Collegiate Athletic Association is they'd mess up a buzzard nest. If they can figure out a way to mess something up, they will. They have the College World Series. So a lot of the top teams got knocked out before they ever got to the Super Regionals. Then some more got knocked out. Mm-hmm. So what do? When they match up the teams in the World Series, they take the number 3 team and the number 6 team from the Southeastern Conference and put them in the first game. So now one of them is automatically in the losers bracket, and that's Arkansas. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you put them in opposite, at least for the first game, put them in opposite brackets so that they could both advance? They're the 2 best teams probably. I wouldn't be a bit surprised if Arkansas worked their way through and got all the way back to the finals, but I don't think they will. I'm just saying. Why would you do that? I mean, but that's the way the NCAA is. But I mean, that was some good baseball. Anywho, let's see. Boston outfielder Roman Anthony was called up last week after he hit the grand slam about 9 miles. Oh, and a hockey note. My favorite player on the Washington hockey team, all the years that I watched them, especially in the late teens and early 20s, when they won the championship in 19, was T.J. Oshie, and he retired this year. He was in the league 16 years, and he retired with the Caps. Also, Boston. They lost Wilyer Abreu. He has an injured oblique, which is, you hear that a lot. He's on IL. I hope everybody, if they didn't see this catch last week, it was last Monday, by the A's center fielder Denzel Clark. If you haven't seen it, you got to Google that thing.
They got highlight reels. That's not the only catch he's made this year.
But that was just
yeah, that catch he made against the Angels was just, oh my gosh.
It's unreal.
You almost think somebody was on the other side of the fence and put a ball in his glove.
Yeah. It was like a movie. It looked like it might have been a cut from a movie. I mean,
right.
Aaron Nola is down for 2 weeks for the Phillies. And by the way, the Phillies are playing halfway decent now. They come out of their funk a little bit. Oh, and Matt Chapman got hit on the hand the other night, and he's out for the San Francisco.
He's doing real well this year.
Oh, yeah, he's having a heck of a year.
I
talked about Craig Kimbrell, who the Atlanta Braves called up from the minor leagues. They signed him to a minor league contract, and they called him up. He pitched in one game. He pitched an inning of scoreless relief, and they sent him back down. Well, since they sent him back down, he had the option of refusing it, so he went as a free agent, and he was picked up this week by the Texas Rangers. More on Texas and Arizona later. Boston had a trade. They got right-handed relief pitcher Jorge Alcala, something like that. and Minnesota got infielder Andy Lugo. They traded with Minnesota. A's, they lost their catcher Langolier. He's out with an oblique. What else? And then the other night, the Mets have been rolling, but the other night Cody Senga left the game with a hamstring problem, and hopefully that's not gonna.
So a little bit more on that. So he did that while covering first, and Pete Alonso gave him a bad toss, and Pete apologized to the team and to Cordelia because it was bad on his part. So he feels bad. So hopefully he's not out long. The Mets looks like they're going to get swept this weekend by the Rays after playing so great for a week and a half, 2 weeks. The Rays have just come into city and just.
All right, I was gonna save this for when we were going through the standings, but in the last 6 weeks, the team with the best record in baseball is Tampa.
Yeah,
they're the best. They have the best record in baseball.
Well, I can tell you right now,
it hasn't had a losing streak, a winning streak, a losing streak, a winning streak. They're just playing steady baseball, just like that organization does every year.
And they don't win by home runs. They win by hitting, by just hitting. They don't have great batting average, but they put the ball in play. They have a lot of speed.
They play baseball.
Right.
That's what I call it. Play baseball. They bunt. They move people over. They hit behind the runner. They hit and run. They have enough speed that they can steal.
They make a lot of contact. They don't strike out a lot. They make a lot of contact.
I mean, they won a game the other night on 2 ground balls.
Well,
guy got on second base with nobody out. The next guy got up and hit a ground ball to second. He moved him to third. The next guy hit a little a dribbler down the first baseline, and they couldn't get the guy at the plate, and they won the game on 2 little ground balls.
Yeah,
that's how they win.
Yeah,
but hats off to that organization. They don't spend $48 billion like the Yankees and the Dodgers and the Mets do, or the Cubs. But they don't spend all that money, but they still win. So you have to give them credit. Let's see. Oh yeah. Boston last week swept the Yankees in Yankee Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
They've already won the first 2 games, so if the Yankees win this afternoon, Boston still won the series. Boston's back to 500, so that's one of the teams that I was kind of writing off. The team that you picked to do well in the American League, and
I think we'll go to World Series.
Yeah, I mean they're starting to play ball. I mean, if they're coming around.
And the player they called up was number 2 in prospect and all the prospects this year. So
I should probably get too soon on a few of these teams because it's still early.
Mm-hmm.
But this is really going to be interesting at the trade deadline. Who's going to be trading and who's going to be trading for? I mean, that's
the one that I am surprised he's not gone yet is Luis Robert with the White Sox. I can't believe he's still a White Sox.
They figure he's going to be moved at the deadline. They're going to wait till the deadline. Last night, Shohei hit 2 home runs.
Mm-hmm.
He had 2 home runs, and the only reason that's significant is his 250th career home run, which is a milestone.
Okay, I did not know that.
Yeah, that's a milestone.
And he's done it quickly.
Yeah. 3 pitchers last night looked really good. DeGrom, Kershaw, and Strider. So if those 3 guys come back, and DeGrom's had about 4 good games in a row, and 2 real good games in a row. Kershaw pitched 7 innings last night, and so did Strider. Buxton of Minnesota, he got hit on the elbow by a pitch last night and left the game with an elbow contusion, and he was wearing a pad on his elbow, and he left the game with an elbow contusion. But he's one of those guys that's injury prone. I mean, he sprained an eyelid waking up. I mean, he just he always has. Here's one of my absolutely useless, but I really enjoy him statistics that I get out of baseball. Yesterday's game, this Saturday's game, the Contreras brothers, Wilson and William, became the first ever brother combination to hit a home run in the same game for 2 different teams. So they both.
I saw where he struck out and the catcher brother giggled.
He hit a home run one for the Cardinals, one for Milwaukee. So,
Right.
the other thing is the Arizona Diamondbacks have the most 9-inning runs of any team in baseball. They've scored more runs in the ninth inning than any other team in baseball, which
That's big.
is significant because you're coming back to win games.
Yeah, and you're playing. Theoretically, you're facing their closer, so the other team's closer. So
Yeah. And which team was it last night? Brought their closer in. They had a pretty big lead. And they brought their closer in, and they lost in the last inning. He couldn't get anybody out. I'm trying to remember who it was. I'll think of it maybe by the end of the program. But anyway, looking at the standings.
well, can I bring up somebody before you get, because you're
Sure.
talking about rookies, and maybe I was thinking of something else, but this kid Jacob Mizorowski with the Brewers.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of his outing the other night? This week?
No, I didn't see any of it.
Okay, so he pitched 5 innings of hitless ball. Mother, I thought was going to have a heart attack, but so he has the fastest pitch of all of baseball this year at 103. He was throwing 100 very easily, and he was throwing a off-speed pitch around 92. So he looked good. A lot of ground balls. Just a name to look out for pitchers. Long, lanky kid. I think he pitched. Where did he pitch at? I don't have it right here. But yeah, he is highly talented. So he was not on my radar until I watched the highlights of this kid. But my God, and it looked like so effortless throwing 100. So I hope he is on.
Well, they had the left-handed kid from LSU that's going to be the first or second or third pick. Pitched against Arkansas yesterday. Pitched 8 innings, and he was just lights out. And his best pitch is his breaking pitch.
Right. And I was just, man, it's unfair. I mean, you throw off speed 92, you're geared up for 100, and all you're going to do is beat it in the ground. And that's what they were doing. And,
Well, and then LSU brought in the reliever to pitch the 8th inning, and he was throwing 100. And then we brought a guy in to pitch the 9th, their closer, and he was throwing 97, and then had a wicked fork ball. I mean, a splitter, So LSU looked pretty good.
talking about college, UVA did get a coaching staff they bought Duke. So
What?
UVA got the Duke's coaching staff for
Oh, they brought in, including the head coach?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so they hired the head coach, and he hires his own staff. So
Sure.
he brought in all of his guys from Duke pretty much.
Well, there you go. I mean, they got to the playoffs this year. So
Yeah, and I mean, and I'm glad because Virginia's got their hands tied like Duke does when it comes to recruiting. You can't just you got to have a certain grade point average to go.
Yeah. See, and I was going to say the same thing, because when they got the coach, O'Connor was such a great coach, but they got him from Notre Dame, and at Notre Dame is the same thing. That grade point average affects your recruiting. So that's a wise move for Virginia, is to get somebody in there that knows you can't just go out and recruit Joe Blow from Kokomo.
And hopefully he's got a little bit of a, maybe we can pick up some of these North Carolina kids down here that can play so well. I mean, South is just loaded with baseball talent. So it's baseball.
Yeah, down in North Carolina, every other town's got 3 little leagues, and
it's incredible down here. But more power to them. I mean, Virginia's the same way. It's just I haven't seen as much baseball as I have since I've been here. So, I mean, it's everywhere.
All right. In the American League, the New York Yankees have a 4.5 game lead over the Rays and the Jays. And I already said that in the last month, the Rays have the best record in baseball.
So they passed the Jays, because they were in second.
Yeah. Detroit has a 71 game lead over Minnesota.
Well, my boss is from Michigan. He's a Detroit fan. He was like, "How's your Mets doing?" I go, "Oh, we're doing well. We got the best record in baseball, but it doesn't matter because your team He goes, yeah, we lost one. I go, yeah, but you still got like 20-game lead.
Yeah, they got a well. They have a 9-game lead on Minnesota. They lost yesterday to Cincinnati, 11-1. But Dela Cruz had one of those monster games that he's liable to have. But they have a 9-game lead on Minnesota. And what is alarming is I was making such a big deal about the American League Central and how this was going to be the most competitive, blah 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 blah, and they got. Kansas City now is in free fall. They're 2-8 in their last 10 games. They're below 500. The White Sox are the White Sox.
I don't think the Royals, they were playing outside themselves earlier, and I kind of knew that. And I still want. I don't think they got the right mindset to play out of that either. The last couple of years, it seems like once they get behind, they're behind. Like
last week, shock. The Yankees came into Kansas City and swept them.
Right.
I mean, the Yankees play anybody near Central, they're going to beat them. I mean, because nobody can score on them.
Yeah. I think the Royals are still. They need some help still.
Well, they've got every team in that division in the last 10 games had a losing record.
And I sent you the highlights of that one boy from Kansas City. He's the kid that was getting robbed left and right, and he finally had a 4-hit game.
And that's and every team in that division has a losing record except the Tigers in the last 10 games. All right, in the West, the Houston Astros are up 4.5 games over Seattle and 5.5 up over Texas. Why do I mention Texas? Texas is starting to win.
Looks good.
I was watching MLB the other day, and their pitching is coming to the forefront. And if they start hitting anything at all,
I was going to say they got to get.
They can win the division. They can come back and win that division. They're only 5.5 back.
How's Houston just keep on? It just like
they're like Tampa.
It's
every year
like Tampa. Their front office is not as good as Tampa. Let's be honest. But my God, it just seems like they do have 2 good pitchers, very good. I mean, but again, I feel like. When are they going to run out of gas with all the postseason that's on those arms and legs of those players? You know, that's what I'm waiting to see with them.
And in the National League, the Mets have a 3.5-game lead over Philadelphia. The Cubs are up by 5.5 over Milwaukee, and about 6.5 over the Cardinals. The Dodgers have a 1-game lead over San Francisco and a 3-game lead over the Padres. It was the Padres that brought in their closer last night, and Arizona scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 9th to beat them. That was the team. The Nats, I said before, were 2-8 in their last 10 games, and they're in free fall. And here
but they're ahead of the Braves still, right?
No. They've fallen below the Braves.
Oh,
the Braves have won. The Braves have won 5 out of 6. I hate to. It's beating a dead horse. But the National League Central now is the division. There's one team with a losing record in that division, 29-43. The Pittsburgh Pirates. The Pittsburgh Pirates have some of the best pitching in the game. Their bullpen's not that hot, but their starting pitching, they've got 3 or 4 pitchers that are outstanding. Skeens, of course, outstanding. But I watch the highlights every game. They score 1 or 2 runs. Their pitcher gets them into the 7th or 8th inning, and then the bullpen comes in, and the other team scores 3 runs, and they lose 3-1 because they can't.
Which is crazy because yes, their 1 through 9 is not as great as a lot of teams, but their 2 through 5, 2 through 6 guys are just as good as any team. That's what's crazy to me. And you think they would get some more runs.
And the other thing is too, son, they don't even power. So they can't get to 3. The 3-run homer is a problem because they can't even get a 2-run double.
Right.
I mean, it's just they just can't score. I mean, the Nationals scored 7 runs Friday night and got beat 11-7 by Miami. But every game they've lost in the last 10 games, that was the only one where they scored more than 2 or 3 runs. They just can't hit. They can't score. And when they get people on, they can't move them over. Hitting into double plays. I mean, I was watching the game the other day and jigging my head, and your stepmom said, "Honey, why do you keep watching them?" I said, "I'm just trying to keep track of how many double plays they're going to hit into." I mean, I think they're trying to set a record.
Right.
But that's basically what I have this week. I think it's going to be interesting when we get up. Well, the All-Star game will be coming up in July, and that's going to be kind of exciting to see. You know,
Atlanta.
Yeah, in Atlanta, and that's it's going to be exciting to see who's going to make the team and all that stuff. But because the fans vote, so sometimes it's a little weird. But anyway, I'm the thing that I'm interested in is the trade deadline, because the trade deadline, who's going to be the buyer and who's going to be the seller. Because I saw an article. I don't think this is going to happen, but if the Braves are sellers, they might trade Sale to the Yankees and get a boatload. So just have to wait and see.
Well, the Yankees, see, that's always interesting because the Yankees' names come up a lot when it comes to, but they have nothing to trade.
Yeah, they've depleted their minor league because
Their minor league, yeah. Well, you know, they're always good, so they get a last pick in the, you know. So and then they do some trades, but it's for that middle. So they do lose some minor leaguers in that, and you know it'll be interesting to see. And I mean, it wouldn't surprise me either. So,
and the other thing too is the Dodgers have 15 pitchers on IR. Some of them like Glasnow and there's a couple of them thrown off a mound now, so they might be back in the next 2 or 3 weeks. But I mean, how they're still in the lead with the team they put. I mean, it just. And then Freddie, he's limping again, so he's having a problem with his leg. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they might. I said it here first. I didn't think they were going to repeat. I did earlier in the year. We made our predictions, but the more I looked into it, the more I saw how it's hard to repeat. It's almost impossible. The Yankees were the last ones in the early 2000s, and the last National League team to do it was the Reds in the 70s. So
Bases loaded, no outs, 3-2 count on Polar Bear.
Maybe they'll win today.
I don't know. But he just missed a pitch that was borderline. I don't think he would have just flew out. But, yeah, the place is going nuts. A lot of people Father's Day is a big day at the ball.
Yeah, Father's Day is a big day at the ball. Mother's Day is a big day.
Mother's Day is a big day, too, yeah.
And then yesterday they had the Nationals had a call up. They brought the dog up, the bat dog.
Yeah, so
Washington, and they had him out there getting the bats.
Yeah, so the Tops has made a card for him.
And the fans were going nuts.
Right. Yeah, they have one down here in Greensboro that they just retired for their AA team. So it's fun to watch.
And little kids were just going nuts. And then it was also bring your dog to the ballpark day too. So there was a lot of mutts in the crowd.
Right. And I mean, I hope people didn't get obstructed from going to games yesterday, but anyway, yeah. What else you got for us, Pop? I mean, that's interesting. I mean, you said last week you thought a lot of the front runners were going to be the front runners, and I still think there's a lot of baseball left. But the only one that the Tigers, but anybody I've seen people lose worse leads. You know,
sure. I mean, we've both been around long enough to see things happen that just don't make sense.
Right.
Listen, 1951. In 1951, I was 5. I hadn't even started school yet. I was 5 in 1951. That was the year that the Dodgers had a huge lead in the National League to play the Yankees in the World Series in 1951. The Yankees were running away with the American League like they always did. That was the year after the Whiz Kids lost in the World Series. The Philadelphia Whiz Kids with Richie Ashburn and Robin Roberts and Granny Hamner and that bunch lost to the Yankees in 4 straight. Right. And they had a huge lead, and the Giants caught them, and that's when they had the playoff. When the Giants caught them and tied it, they had the playoff, and then, of course, the shot heard round the world.
Yeah.
When Ralph Branca threw the home run pitch, to Thompson, and he hit the home run, and the Giants wound up winning the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. So, I mean, I wasn't listening to it on radio, but, I mean, I was only 5. So, I mean, I listened to some games on radio back then, but I just can't remember.
Right.
But anyway, so it's happened. There's plenty of times. I remember one year, and I know your buddies from Philadelphia want to hear this, but I remember the Phillies having a big lead one year in the National League, and the Cubs or somebody catching them. Cardinals.
Well, I mean, the Mets had to catch 69.
They're 69, the Miracle Mets.
Yeah. So that's before my time, but I've seen in my time some big leads get. I mean, I've seen the Mets blow some leads. So going for first to barely making the playoffs. So
I had written Texas off, but I didn't realize that their pitching staff was going to come around.
DeGrom looks like DeGrom of old. Like
he is really pitching well, and taking their time with him paid off. So if they can score some runs, they're going to be tough to beat, and in that division, and so they're coming back. And Arizona has won their last 5 games, and so they're coming back, and they've won their last 5 games. So they also got their first baseman back, so that helped. But they've won their last 5 games, so Arizona's making a little bit of a run. San Diego's kind of fallen off a little bit, but that division with San Francisco, the Dodgers, and Arizona and San Diego is loaded. Colorado is Colorado. That's number 1 pick next year.
That's what they're playing for.
Yeah,
and I mean, they're trading people too. They're going to be.
It's sad too, because they were showing the other night they had 34,000 people at the game. You know, they're still selling a lot of tickets because people love to go to ball games.
And that's a beautiful stadium.
It's a gorgeous stadium.
Yeah. So
then you can go in Denver and not burn yourself to death. We're sitting in the heat. That's
right.
Too.
So
the teams are coming on. Some of these teams we actually have to wait and see, and it's going to determine who's going to be the buyer and who's going to be the seller.
Any last words today, Dan?
Well, my yogiism for today is remember when Yogi, you may remember the history of the sport. When his legs would no longer allow him catch, they put him in left field for a couple of years. And he was in left field when Mazeroski hit the home run over his head in Pittsburgh to win the World's Championship. Well, they were asking about left field, and he said it gets late early out here. And what he meant was the way the sun was in left field, it would shade part of the left. So part of left field was shady, and part of it was in sun. So it got late early out there. That's what he meant. Here again, it makes sense when he explained it that way, but when you just say it,
Right. It's
it's your sister going to wish me a happy Father's Day.
Okay.
Hello. Hi, sweetie. Happy Father's Day to me too. Thank you, sweetie. Me and Scott are doing our show. Yeah. No, that's all right. We just edited it. Yeah.
Oh, we.
Yeah, Scott will edit it. I can't spell edit. Yeah, I edit it. I just kill it. That's what I do. Yeah. Right. Yep. Yeah, and we went on a little later today because he had to work overtime. So. Thank you, sweetie. Thank you, sweetie.
Hi, sissy.
Scott said, "Hi, sissy." Hey, Bubba. All right. Bye. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Yeah. She said, "Well, it's a blooper, I guess, right in the middle of the show. The daughter always wish you happy Father's Day."
Yeah.
I knew she was going to call me, but I didn't know exactly when.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's it. I mean, that's.
Well, we're gonna end it here, and that might stay in the video.
Yeah. Why not?
It's Father's Day, so
Happy Father's Day to all the dads out there.
That's right. And I want to wish you a special happy Father's Day, Dad. Thank you for teaching me sports and how to play them correctly. What people don't understand is sports is a great way of learning how to become a better person and a man or a woman. A team, how to work as a team. You're only as strong as your weakest player, so you want to bring everybody up, not bring them down. So sports are great, and I thank you again for teaching me the right way to play. And I never hot dogged it and act like I was there before. So because I like coming home with my bottom not sore. But to all the fathers out there and people that are maybe not biological fathers but mean something to someone, we all have somebody probably, once you get older that we take under our wing or whatever.
Yep.
On
Sunday morning, sometimes I'm 50 kids' grandfather.
Right, yeah. So I appreciate all of y'all. I've as great as my dad was, I have second, third, fourth, fifth fathers as well, and I love all of them as well. So thanks again to everybody for watching. Until next time, like, share, tell a friend, and we will see ya.